absent for the start of Brown's voluntary offseason programs. Just over a year ago, Garrett signed a 4-year, $160 million extension. It's the most ever given to a defensive player, and he's coming off an NFL record 23 sacks, but he's not there. Again, Jason McCourty made this clear yesterday. It is voluntary, guys. Mike Tannenbaum sitting on the other side of that table. Is Myles Garrett's absence from the offseason program something or nothing?
It's capital S something. You just mentioned, Peter, last year they gave him a record-setting deal. He is their best player by far. You have a rookie head coach in Todd Monken who were trying to establish his program. If we go back 10 days ago, the juxtaposition was Lamar Jackson showed up for Jesse Minter to tamp down any noise, any speculation. The juxtaposition is what Myles Garrett just did. Everyone's going to speculate. They move back the roster bonuses to later in the offseason. Why'd they do that? Why did he not show up? I'm disappointed that he's not there because he could have helped set the tone of, hey, this is a new day, a new program, and I am all in. Even though it is voluntary, as J. Mac alluded to, he didn't have to necessarily stay for the whole offseason, Peter, but he is sending a message by not being there.
Kevin, it's one of these deals where we talk about it all offseason. You got the money. Mike's talking about it. 2 first-round picks. If you're a team, would you offer that for Myles Garrett? If you're the Cowboys, would you give both your first-round picks and say, yeah?
Yeah, and the Browns should be listening. Mike capitalized the S. I'm capitalizing the whole word in something. You're giving up $1 million because you don't want to hang out with your coworkers? That's always a red flag. I'm putting up the windy fingers.
Okay.
Mike Tannenbaum already alluded to it. The contract has been restructured. The bonus went from the league year, which was a couple weeks ago, to the start of the regular season, so the Browns aren't paying out that bonus. What's going on in Cleveland? I think if you're a team that contends right now that needs edge rush help, which by the way is about 31 teams that needs edge rush help, maybe 10 of them will be better situations this year. I'm calling Cleveland. I'm offering 2 first-round picks because I'm trying to figure out what's going on in Cleveland.
Ben, what about you? We know how good he is.
This is nothing. And if you call me with 2 first-round picks for the leading sack getter in the NFL, I'm laughing at you and I'm hanging up the phone. Get to 3, all right? Ideally, get to 4 or 5, but the Browns' suggestion for first-round picks was canceled. The teams voted against it, so you can't even get to that number. This is a spot where I understand from the team perspective it feels like something, but for Garrett, $1 million gets stuck in the couch cushions on a Tuesday, right? He wants to spend more time looking at fossils, all right, looking at T-Rexes. That's what he enjoys. Exactly. I would also be taking as much time away from the Cleveland Browns as I possibly could.
You're being sarcastic, but honestly.
I very much is a thing.
It's $1 million. It's hard not to read into it. If someone dislikes their workplace so much they're willing to give up $1 million to not be there, that can't be nothing in my book.
I mean, we had Trey Hendrickson missing out on off-season workouts for seasons after
But
season
he was
after
trying to get a
season.
new contract. Right. Myles Garrett has a new contract, and he's still bailing.
Myles Garrett's got 25 sacks, or whatever, 23 sacks. Myles Garrett doesn't need to prove anything to anybody, nor does Myles Garrett need to ensure his long-term financial security. Myles Garrett needs to chill out on a couch and have a good time.
There would never be a hotter take on the show than $1 million is nothing.
No, but
that's how I live.
Mike Tannenbaum, real quick, do you think he gets traded this offseason?
I don't, but I am suspicious, as Kevin alluded to, there's a little smoke brewing here in Cleveland.
Okay, this is a lot to chew on, and we will talk about it all offseason. Back to the NFL draft we go. We've got Ben Solak here. Ben on ESPN.com has a really cool article. It's a mock draft, but just of where you think this year's quarterback prospects are going to go.
People like mock drafts, and they like quarterbacks. You put them together.
They do. Ben, why don't you take us through your top 3? We know Mendoza is going 1 to the Raiders, but where do you have Ty Simpson going?
Yeah, Mendoza goes 1 because it's obvious, right? He's a prototypical first overall pick there at quarterback. He's got the big size. He's got the great arm. He's got the intangibles, the championship background. But Ty Simpson, I think will find his way into the first round there because of the 5th-year option, right? So I have the Cardinals trading up ever so slightly to move into that first round, get that 5th-year option because he's a great point guard. Think your Brock Purdy type. Think your Bo Nix type. He's accurate. He's got a live arm. He can move it around a little bit in the pocket, manage space. Works very nicely for Arizona for Michael LaFleur's offense.
All right, and your 3rd quarterback is the Nuss Bus, Garrett Nussmeier. Where do you have him going?
Choo-choo, baby. Buses don't choo-choo. But I have him going to the Steelers there at the end of the 3rd round. The Steelers, I think, are very live to take a quarterback in one of the first 3 rounds. Even if Rodgers returns, we're talking about a 43-year-old quarterback, a guy who's not the future. Nussmeier's got a live arm. He's a very creative thrower, and he's got good pocket management. Now, he's too aggressive. He really likes to push the ball down the field. We have to dial that back in the NFL, but there's a starter in here for sure with a year of development.
Okay, Mike Tannenbaum, we're going to bring you in here. The Steelers quarterback situation. What do you make of it all right now as we wait an annual rite of passage for Aaron Rodgers to show up?
They should move on from Aaron Rodgers. As Ben said, he's going to be 43 years old in December. Last year, he really struggled getting the ball down the field. And as you get older into your 40s, that's not going to get better. When you pair that with an aging defense, and what I mean by that, J.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, Jalen Ramsey, key guys, all over 30 years old, they need to start over. They need to go with Will Howard, and I think ideally Ty Simpson at 21. You have a head coach at Mike McCarthy who's in year one. I have no idea why they would bring back a quarterback that's going to be 43, who, even though he's an all-time great guy, is really a bridge quarterback at this point in his career.
Kevin, he is likely coming back, so they are, but we have to have a plan here. What would you do if you were the GM, Omar Khan, of the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Invest in a time machine? I mean, that's the only way. First of all, he is coming back because they hired Mike McCarthy, who's the coach that he had his most success with and won a Super Bowl with. So you're already all in. There's a line of Moneyball from Billy Beane. If you have to do something, you're screwed, okay? Well, guess what? The Steelers have to do something, so I'll let you guys finish the rest. They've got to sign a guy into his 40s who is limited with mobility already, who can't drive the ball down the field, as Mike T said. He gets rid of the ball really quickly, partially because of health. He just doesn't want to get hit, partially because he just doesn't have it anymore. They're in a tough spot. They're back into a corner.
So we're talking about this, and it seems like the table, Ben, you included, say there needs to. So why are we not saying Simpson 21 to the Steelers? Would that be something that you would be an advocate of?
I would, yeah. I think Simpson's honestly a wonderful fit for Mike McCarthy's offense. You think traditional West Coast, we're going to spend some time in the gun. We need to be a quick distributor of the football, right? Good pre-snap reads. That's all Simpson's game. We're still talking about a limited player there at 21 overall, right? The comps for Ty Simpson are Brock Purdy to Bo Nix. Bo Nix was the 12th overall pick, but QB6 in that class, and Brock Purdy was obviously about as last as a pick can get. And so if you're picking that at 21, you're reaching for a pretty low ceiling with a fairly valuable pick. So I wouldn't dislike it at all, but you do have to understand that's, like Kevin says, a team in desperate need making a desperate decision.
Gosh, it's like the same purgatory they were in, and they took Kenny Pickett a couple of years ago in the same spot.
Exactly.
Let's stay in the AFC in your evaluation, and could he be a top 5 pick?
Absolutely, and I think he's going to be a great player. I want to go as far as what Kevin said. Look, he's a former safety who at 6'5" ran an improbable 4.46. He can run down the seam in that cover 2 defense. He can blitz. He has 9 sacks, 9 pass breakups. Very rarely do you see a player with this sort of production in college, a really rare player. Not sure if he's going to be the best in this draft, but certainly a difference maker.
Ben Solak, you devoured the film, you know all the numbers. What has you fired up on a Friday?
I like tight ends who run faster than 4.4. Here's a comprehensive list. Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon, and that's about it. Nobody else has done it. 4.39 and 240 pounds. I used to do that back in the day, not anymore. Listen, explosive receptions from the tight end position is actually very rare to see. Most tight ends are check down guys. They don't really break tackles. Sadiq can be a unicorn of a receiver. Think George Kittle style, streaking down the field, knocking safeties off him, running away from linebackers. This is a change your passing game caliber of a prospect here. I don't know where he goes in the first round, but the team who gets him is going to be fired up.
Kevin, what are you thinking about Sadiq?
I love him. I'm with Ben. I love athleticism. Always bet on the freak athletes. I'm going to throw out Eli Stowers as well from Vanderbilt. Former quarterback, 4.5 40, so we'll go a little later.
Not a 4.3.
I love both of these guys. A lot of good tight end value in this draft.
It's such an interesting draft. Mike Tannenbaum, what are you fired up to see in the draft less than 2 weeks away?
Peter, for the first time since 2015, does a team trade up in the first round for a running back? That was Melvin Gordon of the Chargers in 2015. Jeremiah Love may be the best player in this draft. He is explosive with the ball in his hands. He's an impeccable pass blocker. He catches the ball 63 receptions. And if I'm the New York Giants and I'm trying to set the tone with John Harbaugh, do I actually think about trading up above the Tennessee Titans at 4? Maybe flipping Peter with Arizona at 3 to get a tone-setting, culture-setting player in Jeremiah Love.
All right, Ben, just for your context.